Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And I brought, I'm out of breath. I just took Boo Radley outside, and he was running around the yard, and then I brought him inside, and I'm uploading a video, and getting him some dinner ready, and he's down in the kitchen eating right now. I am out of breath. Just ran upstairs. I was like, okay, make this video, get this video up, make this video. I'm in such a good mood today. It's beautiful Indianapolis. I was outside talking to my neighbors. Boo Radley was like rolling around in the yard today and stuff. So it's a good day. Today is a good day. Okay, let me catch my breath. Okay, so I brought both of the I brought both of the Melody Beatty books today. I brought Journey to the Heart and The Language of Letting Go. So I thought that we would look at both of them and see what the meditations are for both of them today. Yesterday, I was reading the comments, well, I guess it was 2 days ago that I made 3 days ago, that I made a video over here, and I was reading the comments because in that video I said, do you guys like me reading more of the meditations? Do you like me sharing stories of my life? Do you guys like me responding to comments? And I got kind of a mix. Several people said they liked me reading meditations. Some people said that they liked me responding to comments in the comments section. And some people said that they liked me sharing personal stories. So going forward, however I feel that day is just, I'm going to kind of do a mix of it. So one day I might do a meditation. The next day I might share a story of something that like I feel moved to talk about that day. Whether it's to do with grief or wherever I'm at that day, if it has to do with recovery or however I'm feeling, I might share a personal story, and then I also might respond to comments that you guys have left me to ask me to talk about things. So those videos will be coming in the next couple days. Okay, so let's look in here and see what the meditations are for October 9th. I can't believe it. We are almost already at the beginning or the middle, the end, the beginning, the middle, the end. We are almost already at the middle of October. It seems crazy to me. So, on my Peter Does Stuff channel today, we walked down to the pool to see if it is still open or not, or if the water is still in the pool, so you can go check that out. Okay, October 9th, self-disclosure. Let's see what yesterday's was. Learning to wait was the day before. Letting go of naivete. That's why I went to the day before. Learning to wait. That might be a good one, actually, from yesterday. Let me look in the Journey to the Heart and see what today's meditation is about today. Oh, I pulled right open to October 1st. Isn't that crazy? Okay. October 9th. The scattered pieces will come together. Let's look at yesterday's. Leave when it's time to go. Value the power of seeing. You know what? Let's read Leave When It's Time to Go from October 8th. It's a short meditation. I think this is a good one. I think this is a good topic to talk about. Okay, October 8th. Leave when it's time to go. It's time to pick up, pack up, and leave. You know you wouldn't be in this situation, in this place, with these people forever. Trust the rhythm and cycles of life. Take responsibility for yourself within each cycle. Take responsibility for yourself as each cycle ends and a new one begins. You don't have to hold on to messengers after they've delivered the message in your life, or escorts after they've taken you where you were trying to go. You don't have to stay in a classroom after you've learned the lessons and finished that course. Open your heart. Thank the people, places, and things that have helped create your world, shape you, form your experiences. Then pick up, pack up, and leave. Say goodbye with love and gratitude in your heart and go on down the road. You know, it's an interesting meditation, and one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this today is because I think it's a valuable lesson that I've learned in my life, and that is the importance of saying goodbye and letting go. I think that in my youth, I had a tendency to leave romantic relationships, and it took me a long time to be able to learn to leave romantic relationships in a civil way. And with gratitude, I feel like I've been able to do that. Now, in none of my relationships, except for like before I was sober, the three that I've had since then, all of them like ended on, very mutual terms, and we were civil to each other. It didn't mean that I wasn't hurt. It didn't mean that they weren't hurt. It didn't mean that we weren't sad. But we weren't cutthroat towards the other person, and any of them, if I saw them out or wherever, I would be like, hey, it's good to see you, and whatever. One of the things that I tell people a lot in video, and I also in my personal life, is that I try to look back on those relationships with fondness. I try to remember the good times and not focus on the negative times. I try to be thankful for amazing experiences that they gave me or people that I met through them and good times that I had without staying focused on the negative. I equally do that with friendships as well. I try not to stay bitter in friendships that have, where somebody's like moved away or we're just not friends anymore or something's happened between us and whatever. I try not to stay bitter. What I have learned in my life, okay, it's kind of like the whole idea of drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. What I've learned that I did not know in my youth, and when I talk about my youth, I'm talking about my 20s, I'm talking about before I got sober, even sometimes after I got sober, many years after I got sober, I think I felt this way, where I would feel like somebody did me wrong, or somebody had lied to me, or somebody had hurt me, and maybe there was truth in that, maybe there was no truth in that, In retrospect, I don't know that it really even matters. But long after the relationship had ended, long after I was engaged in the relationship or they were engaged in the relationship, long after we were checking in on each other or I was asking about them, I still held this bitterness and this anger in my heart. And what I realized was that I was really the miserable person. I was really the angry person. It really had nothing to do. And I'm not saying that there aren't situations where justifiable anger comes into play, like where somebody did you so wrong. But even after 2, 5, 10 years, to still hold on to that anger, you're really hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself and you're hurting, the people around you because you're not allowing yourself to move forward because you're so intent on having to prove to other people what a horrible person this person is, or what a liar they are, or how they did you wrong, or whatever. And that might be true. There might be a lot of truth in that. But don't you deserve to have a life of your own? I think the idea of misery loves company is where then you start seeking out people that have anger and misery in their heart. And so they stay very fixated on anger and misery and being hateful and being so caught in that. And I've been in there. I've been in that situation before in my life where I just couldn't let go, If it had just been different, if they just hadn't done that, I have to prove who they are to somebody else, I think we all have this desire to want to tell on somebody that if you knew what they said about you behind your back, or if you knew how they treated you, or if you knew what they lied about, or if you knew what they were really like behind the scenes, but in the end, what does it really matter, I have felt that way towards many people in my life that for a long time held on to a lot of anger about, and at any expense, at any chance would tell somebody exactly what I thought and how they felt. And what I realized was it came across as if I was a very bitter, angry person. And I was a very bitter, angry person. It was hurting me. It was really hurting me. I was the one that was hurt in the long run. And I haven't done that in years, 20 years probably. I had to learn it kind of a hard way. When I actually had a friend said to me, you do realize that they've gone on and they're living, they have a very happy life today, and whether they think of you or not, you're constantly in it, right? They're not in it at all anymore, and I'm really worried about you because you're not being able to live your life. You're kind of consumed with it. And I can remember it was a very, very good friend of mine that said this to me, and I kind of stepped back and I was like, I am kind of consumed with this. And I was like, I'm not going to let that happen again. I'm not handing my life over to somebody else. I'm just not doing that. I'm not going to become consumed with it, I'm not. And I see that around a lot. I see, in my personal life and stuff, I see people that kind of become consumed. I've had friends of mine that have gone through divorces. And I want to make this clear. I'm not talking about in situations that are horribly abusive or, huge betrayals and things like that. I think that requires a lot of obviously professional help and things like that to work through those situations. But I have been in those situations as well. And there came a point where I had to ask myself, number one, am I doing the work to work through this, to address the pain, to unpack what happened to me? And am I choosing to hold on to it because it makes me a victim? And then it gives me an excuse for other things that have happened in my life. Or am I just not doing the work at all? I'm not willing to move through it, I think it's interesting. I think that it's kind of that there's always kind of this end result that I was wanting back in the day. And I was becoming kind of consumed with it, checking everything that they were doing, asking people what they were doing and things like that when I wasn't even really in their life anymore. I've shared this story a lot before, that the guy that I dated, we had broken up months before I went into treatment, and he was the one that got me started on cocaine. And but I was still in retrospect, I thought I was in love, but I wasn't. It was obsessive compulsion is what it was at that time. And I'm not talking about OCD. I mean, I was like obsessed with this person and just kind of couldn't stop thinking about him. And what he wasn't giving me the attention that I needed. He wasn't giving me the way that I needed. It wasn't like turning out the way that I wanted. So it kind of like just kind of kept on heightening and like I just became, the less he gave me, the more obsessed I got, kind of. And I see that a lot with people that kind of are fixated on stuff. And so I can remember like I would call like all my friends. I'd be like, did you see him out? Where was he out? And whatever. And he was dating somebody else. And I can remember I was talking to somebody on the phone one time, and my counselor came over, who's still a very dear friend of mine today, and she came over and she hung up the phone. I was on payphone. I was like, what are you doing? She's like, we're done with this. Like, you're trying to stay so connected to the outside world that you're not focusing on yourself. Well, I think that's a good analogy for things today in my life, you know? It's like, where am I putting my energy? That's a question I ask myself a lot today. Where is my energy today? Is my energy in the positive on what I'm doing about myself? Am I putting things inside my mind? Am I watching TV shows? Am I reading books that are making me happy? Or am I becoming consumed with things that aren't making me happy? And if what is making me happy is proving to other people, like in my personal life, what somebody did to me 2, 10, 5, 20 years ago, if that makes me happy, or trying to tell on somebody, if that makes me happy, then I think I'm pretty disillusioned and I'm probably pretty miserable myself. And I don't want to be miserable, you know? I know that I'm only here for a limited period of time on this earth. I don't want to waste those days with consumption about ugliness and misery and negativity. I just don't. I don't have that much of a desire to tell on somebody. I just don't, you know? And I think the question would be, to some people, be like, well, you have a drama commentary channel. I do. And you know what? When I first started doing drama commentary several years ago, I mean, it was constantly people sending me stuff, and we were talking to each other, and we were all about it, right? And I can remember that, like, if something happened at like 7 o'clock in the evening, like I'd say to my husband, do you mind going upstairs so I can pull out the ring light and film this video? I don't do that anymore. A video can wait 2 or 3 days. When I turn off the camera and I'm done talking about something, I'm done talking about it. I'm not looking into stuff unless people are sending it to me, or I'm sitting at my desk figuring out what videos I'm going to make the next day, or I wake up and I'm like, okay, I need to look into this. I just don't. I don't have the interest in it, and I don't have the energy in it. I like talking about it on video for the 45 minutes that I talk about it, but after that, I'm kind of like, I'm not that interested in it, you know, because I think to become that consumed with it and get that ate up with it, it really affects me more than it even affects other people out there, or the person that I'm even talking about or bringing attention to. So I don't really have that desire today, you know. I still like talking about it. I like having an opinion, but it's, the camera goes off and I'm done talking about it, you know. And I think I've had to really ask myself in the last couple years, where am I in this thing that's happening to me? Who am I in this thing that's happening to me? You know, like, what am I putting into this? And are there times that I have to say, like this meditation said, it's time to say goodbye. It's time to say goodbye to situations that are no longer healthy to me. They're not bringing me any joy. And I think sometimes we can confuse joy. Like, years and years and years ago, my friend Tanya and I talk about this all the time. We had a friend group, okay, that was probably like 8 to 10 people. And we were going to meetings all the time, and we were hanging out. People were dating within the friend group. People were dating outside the friend group. And we would all gather at Tanya's afterwards for bonfires, and 2 of us would run off, get a fountain pop. Some people would, you know, go and order pizza, and we'd all come back there. But there was a lot of gossip and a lot of drama that happened, like, in the early days of that group. And for a while, I think it was really fun, you know, to talk about all of that was going on. Today, it's really just like, you know, 4 of the people have gone back out there and started using again. So we don't hear from them, even though we've reached out to them. You know, a couple of the people have moved. A couple of the people have passed away. And so it's really just Tanya and I. And Tanya and I have talked a lot about how, like, all the talk and stuff was kind of fun at that time, but that it was, I mean, it was lighthearted. It wasn't anything serious. But today it's like, there's no, like, high drama. It's all peace and serenity. And, like, I wouldn't give that peace and serenity away for anything, you know? There's times that you have to say goodbye to situations. I was talking about this in my vlog yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I was talking about that there are times that you have to say goodbye to friendships. That friendships are just not healthy for you anymore. You know, there's times that I've had to, like, stop watching, like, for a while, like, I stopped watching The Housewives and horror movies because I felt like it was bringing in a lot of negative energy. Now I'm at a place where I'm fine to watch it. 6 months from now, I might be like, it's too much. I don't want to watch it anymore. But at that time in my life, the yelling and all that stuff it felt toxic to me. I think that we need to do a better job, or I need to do a better job, and I do a better job of this today. So I think what we all need to look at is, what are we surrounding ourselves with? Are we surrounding ourselves with positive? When people talk about positive light and energy and all kinds of stuff, well, really what we're talking about is, what are we consuming in our day? Not just food and exercise, but what are we consuming as far as music, television shows, people that we're, talking to? What are we consuming? What are we focusing our attention on? And is it bringing us really true joy? Or is it disguised joy? And is it bringing us really happiness, or is it actually making us more miserable, more obsessed, and more consumed about negative things than we really should focus on? I'd rather focus on positive. None of us have that many days left here on earth. I would rather spend them on things that make me really happy than on things that don't bring me joy in the long run. That 20 years from now, I'm not going to look back in my life and be like, that really mattered, that I was consumed over that guy that left me when I was 22 years old, or that person that lied to me when I was 36 years old, that I spent 2 years trying to prove to somebody what a liar they were, or that person that hurt my feelings, or that person that, whatever. I mean, I don't want to waste my time doing that. Sometimes it's time to pick up my toys and go home. Sometimes it's just time to say, the time has come, that this has come to its end. And that doesn't mean that I don't vent about it to people, or that I don't process it with my therapist and my sponsor, or that I don't try to move through the pain. I do that. But then after that, it's like, okay, maybe it's time. This is over. I think sometimes I have had a difficult time with endings in my life. And so when I'm consumed with something, I feel like there's going to be some resolution. Some things in life, and this is one of the most painful lessons I've had to learn, sometimes there is no closure. Sometimes there is no resolution. Sometimes the closure and the resolution is for us to say, I'm done. I'm out. Goodbye. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.